This is the Anna Gale Lines Podcast, where we equip you with the tools and insights to take charge of your life and thrive. And here is your host, life coach and author, Anna Gale Lines.
Welcome to the Anna Gale Lines Podcast. I'm your host, Anna Gale Lines. In life, we are faced with countless choices, both big and small, that shape our experiences and determine our path forward. But how do we ensure that we make the best decisions possible? How do we navigate the complexities and uncertainties of decision making with confidence and clarity? In this video, we will explore the art of making better decisions. We will delve into practical strategies and insights that can help you approach decision making with a thoughtful and informed mindset. Whether you're facing a career crossroads, making personal choices, or seeking to improve your decision-making skills in general, this video is here to guide you. We will discuss the importance of gathering information, defining goals, and considering the long-term consequences of our choices. We will explore the role of intuition, seeking advice, and evaluating risks. And most importantly, we will emphasize the power of self-awareness and learning from past experiences. Making better decisions is not about being perfect or avoiding mistakes. It's about equipping ourselves with the tools and mindset to navigate the decision-making process with confidence and clarity. By implementing the strategies and insights shared in this video, you can enhance your decision-making abilities and make choices that align with your values, goals, and aspirations. So let's embark on this journey together and discover the art of making better decisions. Get ready to unlock your decision-making potential and create a future filled with wise choices and fulfilling outcomes. Remember, every decision you make shapes your destiny. It's time for you to make better decisions and shape a better future for yourself and your family. So, what are the 10 reasons that people make bad choices? One is lack of information. They make a decision without putting in the effort to find out all the variables. They don't research. They don't do their homework. They don't find out what the consequences would be if they made this choice, or make an educated guess of what the consequences would be if they made this choice. So we could find out information from reliable sources on the internet. We can find out information from books we read, podcasts, audiobooks. We can interview people in order to get information. We need to be doing as much research as we can before making decisions. And we also make emotional decisions. So we make our choices solely on our emotions. And once we do that, that leads to bad or poor outcomes. When we let our emotions cloud our judgment, we overlook important factors and we make impulsive decisions. Some people are given to peer pressure. They let other people influence what they do and how they do it. We also have a lack of self-awareness, meaning that we don't understand our own needs and we don't understand the needs of others around us in order to make a better decision. We have short-term thinking. We make decisions on an impulse. We have lack of goal clarity, so we don't know what we want in life. And we have a fear of failure. And then we have tunnel vision. We have a limited perspective of what's going on. We have lack of self-discipline. So what are the reasons that people make wise choices? They make wise choices to achieve their goals. They make wise choices to avoid regret. to improve their well-being, to build stronger relationships, to enhance their personal growth, to manage their resources effectively, to minimize risk, to foster resilience, and to set a positive example, and to create a fulfilling life. So, what are 10 ways that we can make better decisions? 1, we can gather the information. We could take the time to do our homework and to go on the internet, find reliable sources to find out all the information we can. We could do that through listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, to reading books. We could do that by actually interviewing people, those people who have been there, done that, and what has happened to them for making that choice. So we can have informed decisions. We can make educated guesses on the information that we are gathering. And we need to not just find one source, but we need, especially on the internet, we need to find sources that collaborate what that one source is saying. So if you find a source on the internet that says, one thing, then go and find people who have done that, even experts, and ask them if that's the truth. Go to books, go to, other sources besides the internet to find out whether that source is correct. So we also need to define our goals, because if we don't have defined goals, a defined direction of where we want to go in life, what tends to happen is that we will make decisions not based on what is best for us and our goals and the people around us, but we will make decisions based on we just want to make a decision because people are pressuring us to make a decision. We make a decision because this has been lingering over us for so long. We make a decision on impulse because we just want to make a decision and have it over with. But we need to define our goals. What is it that we want to do with our lives? What kind of life do we want to lead? And does this choice, does it align with our goals and our visions for our life? If it doesn't, then we need to rethink that choice. And then we need to consider the pros and cons of each decision we're going to make. So you go back to the old pro-con list, write down one column for pros and one for cons. So what are the pros of making this decision? What is the pros of going to Harvard versus Yale? What are the cons of going to Harvard versus Yale? What are the cons of going to Yale versus Harvard? We need to write down a list of all the pros of every option that we are considering and every con of all the options that we are considering. Because then in black and white or blue, depending on what pen color you're using, or even if you're doing it on the computer, you can see what the benefits are of that decision and what the negative consequences are going to be for that decision. So we need to be looking at the pros and cons to help us make a more informed decision, because we can't just make decisions on impulse. And we can't make it because other people want us to make this choice. What is the right choice for us? And then we need to think long term, because too many times we're thinking only in the short term. So you go to the store and you see all those items at the checkout stand, and you go and you pick one up. That is thinking about the short term. But what if you're short on money? What if you've budgeted all your money and all your resources are allocated And now you are going over budget by buying that impulse item. You might not think that a $2 magazine or a $5 magazine is going to cause a restraint on your budget in the long term, especially if you've got a buffer zone. But the thing is that you need to stick to your original choices. And we need to think long term, because what's going to happen is if you buy that gum or buy that magazine, or you buy that impulse item at the checkout stand, over time, if you keep doing this, it's going to blow your budget. But we don't think long term. We only think short term. And we need to be thinking about the end result. So, are we going to be able to pay off that bill if we buy this impulse item? Are we going to be able to put it towards our advertising budget? Are we going to be able to eat? Are we going to be able to buy the kids insulin? We have to think about the long-term ramifications of what we're doing. We also need to trust our intuition, that inner voice, that inner knowing that tells you what direction to go in. Too many times we are not listening to that inner voice. We are going off of our emotions, or we're going off of what we think is logical. But we need to trust our intuition, because sometimes there are forces in the universe that we don't see and we don't know about. But our intuition will never steer us wrong. So we need to tune in to what that intuition is saying. I am as bad at this as everybody, to quiet yourself and listen to that and what it is trying to tell you. And then we need to seek advice and feedback. Too many times we think we could do everything on our own. And we need to seek the advice of people who have been there, done that. We need to seek the advice of our trusted friends, family, and mentors, and get their insight on what's going on. Because we may not see all the factors, and they may see things in the situation that we don't. And they may know things that we don't. And they may know experts in that field that we could talk to. Or they could give us feedback. They could give us feedback on whether we should publish our novel or not. They could give us feedback on that song that we're writing. They can give us feedback, and they can tell us what they think. But too many times we don't ask for help. Our creative projects are too near and dear to our hearts, so we don't want to share them. But if you don't share them, you don't get another perspective. You don't get the opportunity to make what you're working on better. And we need to step back. Especially if you're feeling overwhelmed or unsure about making a decision, you need to step back. And we need to give ourselves time and space to reflect. Absence from that decision can give us clarity and a new perspective. In fact, you might want to take a walk, or you might want to go do something else. Maybe go to a class, or maybe engage in some creative activity that you love to do. Do something besides focusing on that decision, because usually when we focus on it, we're not going to get the answer. Most of the time, if we would just walk away for a few minutes, an hour, maybe a day or two, then we can get that perspective we need. We can take a fresh look at what's going on. It's like when you're writing a novel or you're writing a short story. If you put it away after you're finished writing the first draft, and you put it away for days, weeks, and you come back to it, usually you're amazed at what you actually created, and B, you see it from a fresh perspective. So when I'm listening, I listen to my novels, and when I'm editing them, or my stories, I listen to them so that I can hear the flow. And then I will catch right away what's going on. Like, I will catch that there's a word missing, or that sentence was choppy, or I will hear it and go, well, what happened to this character? What happened in that situation? And I will start taking notes so that I can go back. But that time away from that novel has given me perspective. I'm not as attached to the outcome. I'm not as attached to the story. And that's what we need to do. We need to take that step back and put some space in between us and the decision. And we need to consider the values and principles that guide us. So is this decision going against your principles? Is it going against what you were taught, what you believe? If it's not aligned with your values and principles, then you shouldn't do it. If it is a choice between choosing your morals or choosing business, always choose your morals. Because in the end, you could get a different job. You can do your business differently. But you can never get to the point where you're going to be able to live with yourself if you violate your morals. And then we need to evaluate the risk. We need to assess potential risks and problems and uncertainties. And you might want to even, once you come up with the decision that you want to make, you might want to take all the obstacles you see and make a decision on what you're going to do in that particular situation so you can eliminate as much risk as you can. And we need to learn from past experiences. We will make mistakes in life, and we will have to repeat those mistakes because we didn't learn the first time. So we need to learn from our past mistakes, reflect on them and their outcomes, and identify problems, patterns, and lessons we learned from those experiences, and decide what you're going to do in the future to prevent that from happening again. So in conclusion, the journey to making decisions is a continuous process that requires self-reflection, mindfulness, and commitment to growth. By embracing curiosity, seeking diverse perspectives, and honing our critical thinking skills, we pave the way for informed and thoughtful choices. Remember, each decision is an opportunity for personal and professional development. Embrace the lessons learned from both successes and setbacks as they contribute to the wisdom that guides our future choices. Remember that it's not only the decisions like where we're going to eat, or what I'm going to do with this business, or how I'm going to advertise my business, or what I'm going to do about that work situation or that relationship problem. Choices also are choosing joy every day, choosing to be happy, choosing to be positive, choosing these aspects of our lives that we want to go for, choosing to be focused, choosing to focus on our dreams and our goals. But we have to make a decision, because even indecision is a decision. We have to navigate the complex landscape of decision making, and we have to remain open to new ideas, become resilient in the face of challenges, and mindful of the impact of our choices on ourselves and others. Through our intentional decision making, we not only shape our own paths, but we also contribute to a world where thoughtful choices lead to positive outcomes. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of making better decisions. May your choices be guided by wisdom, clarity, and a vision for a brighter and more fulfilling future. Until next time.
Learn more about Anna Gale or to purchase her fiction and nonfiction books, go to AnnaGaleLines.com. That is ANNAGALLYNES.com. Right now, you can buy 3 ebooks and get the 4th one free. There you can sign up for the newsletter to keep up to date on what is happening in the world of the Anna Gale Lines podcast and her science fiction podcast, The Space-Tastic Mysteries, where you can hear installments of her novels. To follow her on social media, it is Anna Gale Lines on Twitter, Lady Anna Gale on TikTok, Anna Gale Lines Artist on Instagram, at the Anna Gale Lines Podcast on YouTube. You can join the Facebook page at Author Anna Gale. Thank you for listening and thank you for being you.